All right, so when you go to make any sort of add-ons with the hot glue, everybody has their own way of doing things, but what I like to do is rough up the area first. I use a nail drill. It's cheap and super effective, but I take the roughest bit and kind of rough up the area where it's going to sit first. That way it has something to really grip onto. I kept the ears on this guy and just shortened them because I wanted to give it like a little anchor for them to sit on. I think it helps. Feel free to go outside of the range that you're actually going to use just to make sure your area is well covered. You can go back over and smooth it later, so it's not really a big deal if you do a large area with it. What I did with this Tonie as well is I went ahead and just smoothed out the top of the head just to give it more of a round look instead of that square kind of look that they tend to have. I also cut this down to make it into a little microphone. Okay. You can see on this, because of its position, it's a little tough to get it all over it. But it's basically there. I use just a cheap Home Depot tile with little grip feet on the back, by the way, if anybody wants to use this. My grandma taught me that years ago, and I found it to be really helpful for painting. It's also great for hot glue because it just pops right off. Super easy. Okay. So my glue gun has different temperature settings. I like to have it on a little bit of the higher side. Just because I want to kind of like melt it into the Tonie itself as much as I can, just really anchor it and secure it as much as possible. Downside is with having it high when we're doing these kind of build things, it's going to make it difficult to shape it the way that we need to. So I only keep it high for my base and then kind of go from there. So right now I'm just kind of going and covering the area as nice as it would be to do both at the same time. You want to focus on just one ear at a time or one area at a time, as what we're doing is mostly having gravity kind of do the work for us. So I'm tilting it as it's drying, or not drying, as it's cooling, so it maintains that shape that I'm looking for. You can see back here it's kind of going a little bit further than I want, but I could just use my fingernails to kind of move it how I need. This is not a fast process, and there might be a bit of silence through this, so I'm really sorry. You'll know when it starts to kind of cool down. I'm sure most of you are pretty familiar with hot glue, but if you're not, you'll notice that it kind of changes in its consistency. Can't peel that one off to show you right now, but see, it's a little bit cloudy in comparison. You can see down here, it's getting a little bit cloudy because it's cooling. So once you start to see that opaque color change, you know you're getting near that spot that you need. And then you can just lightly tap it. Do not do it beforehand. Otherwise you'll mess up any progress that you have made and probably burn your finger in the process. Definitely done that myself. But since we have that color change on there, even though up here is still a little bit tacky, we're going to go ahead and work over here just because it's secure enough in the cooling process that it should be good enough to go on to the next portion of where we're going. And as you can see here, it already started to droop. So just kind of want to rock it back and forth as it cools. Wherever you want that bulk of the bead to kind of sit, just kind of follow that along. See, this is exactly why you can't do both sides at once, because you can't focus on two beads at once, or at least I cannot. If you can, please make a video, because I would love to save some time on doing this, but my skill set has not moved up to that point yet. Again, a little bit further out than I want. Push it in with the nail. And same for back here. Oh, and I have a cat that's way too nosy, and he's trying to get into this, so I'm sorry. You'll kind of get an indication that it's cooling, not only from the that color change happening, but you'll notice that your bead isn't moving as frequently. Your thinnest spots, like down here, are where it's going to cool the fastest. So just kind of take a look in those areas when you're doing it to see where your progress is at. Since we're almost done with this stage, I'm going to turn down my heat. Not a whole lot, but enough to where it's not going to immediately bead down. We're going to try a little microphone on here. Not sure if I like the idea of it yet, but I can always cut it off. So figure let's try it. These small beads are harder to work with a lot of times just because, well, you have sort of a focus area. It doesn't have as much forgiveness. The one that drives me nuts, though, about doing the hot glue stuff is the hot glue spider webs. Could really do without those. Now, the thing that's going to be tough with this one, so it seems like, well, Actually, I'm going to start that one over. The area that it wasn't taking in was the one closest to the head, which makes it the hardest. So, no big deal, you can rip that off. All right, round 2. Front looks good. Back doesn't. But we'll build. Sorry. Being kind of impatient with this one right now. And so this one's gonna be the singer, or the main guy in Sing, Buster Moon. So these are his little cute ears. If you don't get the shape perfectly right, don't even worry about it. You can always file it and reshape it and do whatever you want with it. Again, just move it with your nail. As you can see, it's starting to form that ear. We'll bring it down a little bit too because we want it to be a little bit bigger because his are pretty dramatic. My voice is starting to go. It kind of comes in and out, so bear with me. It is always ideal if you can finish it without having to file it later, just because you're saving yourself that extra step. Given how thick these little chunks are, I don't know if we're going to get through that. We'll see. Maybe it'll work. He's got a big head. And there's that color change we're looking for. this side did not want to cooperate with getting it added. That's okay, just adapt. Anything can be done, can also be undone. My daughter's a giant Minnie Mouse fan. Loves all things Minnie. And this kind of makes me think I should try and make some little Minnie Mouse Tonies for her. If it's starting to cool and it's not moving as fast as you need it to for the shape you're looking for, tap it like I've been doing. Usually works. Gotta say, I kind of like the chunkiness of the ears. These make them look extra fluffy. Plus then we can grind down in here and give it a lip, like how they curl over a little bit. Okay. Super boring, I'm sorry. I'm also not used to like making videos where I talk. All of my videos have all been like silent when I'm working. So I feel weird like I'm talking to myself. So my bad. All right, so this portion is falling down a little bit, going where we need it to as far as depth. We don't want it to bulge right there, so just keep rotating. I hope you can see everything okay at this angle. Okay. I feel like the shape is there. I just need to add like a little bit of bulge right down here. Let me get my iPad. I think that'll help me kind of see it a little bit better. I usually have a picture up when I'm working. So let's do that. There's our progress that we have of our lopsided guy. So thinking like this range. Try not to get the ring light to get it. So they're obviously going to be up higher just because that's where those ears are going to be. Without having the ears anchoring it, I just don't feel safe enough doing that. There's other pictures where his ears sit up higher. So we'll just pretend like that's what it is. It'll all work because when everything's all said and done, it'll be clear what it is that we're doing. Whoops, gotta reload. And like it always looks super ugly when you first put it on. but so does all of this, right? Like how he looks right now, it's not super fantastic. Oh, these little spider webs. Okay. I know that this is a very slow process and probably not for everybody. I just prefer it because my daughter is ridiculously tough on her toys. And when I do anything with clay, she tends to not have it last as long. So this seemed to work out better for us. I might be the only weirdo that's willing to spend this long doing it, though. I will say, it doesn't usually take this long, like especially when I'm doing hair. It's more the tedious nature of having it cool as you're, I guess, sculpting it. I don't really know how to phrase what it is that we're doing here. Shaping it. Just takes a while. And let's just sort of guide this a little bit to where we need it because it's almost there and it's almost cooled. Thinking I should anchor this down in some degree. I've got way too much stuff in my craft desk, so let's see what we can use. I'll just use my thumb. Can't really think of anything specific at the moment. The video's already long enough. I know some of you are concerned about process not being as elegant when you're doing it as maybe the finished product is. As you can very clearly see, it's not for me either. I think we all struggle with it throughout the process, and that's okay. The important thing is that you just keep going. So eventually you'll get to a point where you love it. These almost always look really ugly through the process. And while I'm doing these, I usually will end up bugging my friends by sending them pictures of it and asking them what they think and trying to get other people's opinion, because I mean, I'm very self-conscious about all of these. I'm always worried it looks, I don't know, bad. So don't be afraid to reach out to people if you're feeling that way. A lot of people in the group can empathize with your feelings on that. I just want a little more bulk right here. I'm sorry guys, my hands are shaking. So I'm dropping things. Well, I'm not graceful, but I don't think I'm ever graceful anyways. All right. I think we pretty much got the shape of our ears. Just need to let that cool. I'll go ahead and make another video shortly of shaping them. That way, if you want to watch just one or the other, you don't have to fast forward through all of this.